And I'm thinking, no way would you play on my mind and go and start waving bye-bye.
You have had an incredibly busy February.
Yes.
We are recording this early March. And you released your first solo single, which was incredibly exciting, which we will do a proper deep dive on.
Yeah.
And to celebrate that, you put on a show.
Yeah. So that was, I kind of welcomed it as a big distraction away from February, because I hate February. but yeah, basically it was me and Rob, aka Handsome Rob from the band. So that was cool in itself. He was launching something, I was launching something. Made sense to join together and make a show together.
Yep.
But of course, yeah, it was me just as Dulcima, not with the band, not with, there were a lot of people on stage, but not with the group I got so used to having on stage.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Rob.
So this came from, so you've done a few bits as just Dulcima over the last year.
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you did a big show in Ashford last October, November.
Yeah.
And Rob attended. And he, bless him, was so full of praise for you. And I think it was the first real time he'd actually heard the lyrics properly.
Yeah.
It was a really strong story to tell with the music that you chose. And he did make a proper point, I don't know if he said the same to you, certainly said the same to me, that it really felt like you were saying the right thing. And he understood. Because there are certain songs that really do tug on a heartstring.
Oh, they do.
For people that have known you over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Him obviously being a massive
so
part
close
of
to it as well. Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the four of us, so we have Rob, his bandmate Toby, me and you, were sat around a pub table discussing, let's do a show.
Yeah. And it was, I remember thinking at that time, like, not, oh my God, are we going to do this? Because I was like, we clearly are capable of doing this. Yep. Obviously we can. I was like, I didn't know quite what we were all letting ourselves in for. I didn't know how much, I didn't know whether we would sell tickets easily, whether it would be a real pull, whether it would be really difficult. And because you can sort of sit back a bit and think, oh, we've got the band fans, but you can't, if you're going to launch two new things, you can't rely on those people necessarily.
No.
There are some fans that have just followed every person's separate journey, which is brilliant, and they really wanted to see. But yeah, you never know what you're letting yourself in for.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if you felt like that at all.
I do agree.
Yeah.
I am very glad we did it with someone. Not to say we couldn't do it on our own.
No, I am as well.
But there was certainly that element of, if we're going to do this, headline our own show, actually the fact that we can do it as a dual. And it was because we were both releasing. When I say we, I'm using very much royal we. I do not release.
Love the royal we.
Yeah, a lot of we take it as a royal we. It was almost mad timing that both ex-members.
Yeah.
And I think actually that pushed us because we hadn't set a release date.
No.
And something we will actually go into is we've actually tried to release your music 3 or 4 times over the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And it almost pushed us into, no, we can do this.
Yeah.
We're going to set a date.
Yeah.
We're going to release music one way or another. And they're going to do the same.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was almost a lot to take on, but I'm glad it was sort of a group of us.
Definitely.
And actually, I think what it really did show me, particularly on show day, was how many good people we have around us. And outside of the four, there are some incredible people that we've worked with in the last 4 months.
And that's really interesting because that was something that was part of the nervousness that comes from going solo after being so well known in a group or even working in a group. I had this weird syndrome where I thought, no one will be better than the group I used to play with. No one will be better than the team we had. Don't know why. It was literally just because I've been with it in the band for 10 years and it had gone quite well. So you just assume, anything from here will be a step down. oh my goodness, the show in February proved to me, no. Like, there is still no end of amazing. Like, there are obviously no end of amazing. I can't believe I needed to do a show to have that proven to me. But it was just this, like, it also is kind of fear of the unknown in a way, like working with new musicians. And I'd never directly, so that was another thing, designing the show in a way, as in working out for the Dulcima act, who is on stage, who's playing what, when are they playing what does Dulcima do? Because obviously I can play the piano or stand and sing. And this idea of me directly talking to the drummer and the bassist and the backing singers and the keys player, that was so new to me. Because actually in the band, again, I wasn't that person doing that. I was a front singer, but not the main one. So of course, all that communication got sort of done for me, effectively, or done, and there was no way I was going to do it. But, someone else was always going to be in charge of that.
So for anybody that wasn't there, the revival show, Crazy Watercommon, Dulcima, was in Maidstone end of February, and it was a 10-12 piece ensemble in the end. The way that the show played out, we had 2 acts with an interval, and we actually split each set. So the boys went on first, did 5 songs, then you went on, interval, then the boys,
that
and then you.
So well.
Brilliantly.
That's such a good
And a big
balance.
factor with the planning was being able to build the stage slowly.
Yeah.
So the guys started just as them, your set started just as you, and then you added keys as the next bit, bass as the next bit, drums, and they did the same.
Yeah.
In the end, we ended up with everybody on stage and a very random song.
Can we talk about that later?
Yes, we will absolutely finish on that. But yeah, the show itself, fantastic.
Yeah.
Producing the show. So as far as your sets are concerned, something I've always probably wrongly encouraged is keeping your attachment to the band, perhaps.
Okay.
I think I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. Well, I've sort of always thought, it's always good to throw in a song that people will know.
Yes.
And I think I still had that in my headspace of when planning a set list, there will be fans there.
Yeah.
Should we
appease them?
Yes.
Do something they'll know. I completely forgot because we were going to do robots.
Yeah.
And I remember, yes, you were an advocate for that. And what's really funny is I showed Rob my set list with robots in it, and he was like, there was nothing anti-robots, but he was like, really, you can do that?
No, and looking back now, so we've covered a few songs during festivals last year.
Yeah.
And I am actually not here to dictate your set list, whatever you're comfortable with, absolutely.
I'm always going to know though, like whatever.
I think I was just coming at it from a fan point of view.
Yeah.
And I think it's always nice to know, it's really hard with you releasing new music that people don't know it enough.
No. Yeah.
But I think somehow I lost track of, people know the covers.
Yeah.
So they do get that element of
you are
singing along if you want to.
Yeah.
And looking back, there is no regrets on you not doing it.
No. That's a really good point. We never spoke about this. And actually, I wonder whether it might have looked like to launch your new act and then to go and do old songs. It might be a bit like, well, what it could feel like a cop-out because you could put one of yours in there. But I get it. We were doing that to kind of keep people's attention if their attention was waning at that point.
And it's a big part of the story.
It is, yeah.
But I'm hoping maybe we've
well, do you know what? I mean,
that bit.
I don't know whether this is the subject for another time, but the songs that meant the most from the band to me, and the ones that actually like hurt to perform.
Okay.
It wasn't robots.
Okay.
Weirdly. I don't know whether we'll go into this another time.
Just give me a title and then we definitely will.
Monsters.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was a whole thing. It was like singing the words you wish were being sung to you. And there was this whole role reverse, and I was just like, the lines "bear with me" made me so angry to sing them. Because I was literally having to say, bear with me, I won't do wrong, or whatever the words are. Whatever those words were, though, I was just like, I should not be having to sing this in that time of where we were at. But anyway, and I don't think nothing was. I don't know how on purpose things were, but anyway, it was another time.
Another thing.
That's a good. That's a
We
good
will be
subject.
deep diving into that. I can see it. I can
There's
see it
some
whirling
others.
in your brain. That
There's
there's
some others.
so much
Yeah.
more to say.
Yeah.
Right. So back to revival.
Back to revival. Let's talk about
Back to revival. So stage setup, incredible.
Yes.
Before that, so we had the run up.
Yeah.
Marketing, selling tickets.
That was scary.
It was very
I
scary.
was nervous.
Yes. I don't actually think I went into it nervous because I think we did set ourselves,
We started
let's
early.
say, a low goal
Yeah, and that.
of what we needed.
And we had a slight escape plan.
Mhm.
We had a slight escape route for, okay, well, if we only sell so many, we can still make the room look full, feel good. It will still feel like a good ambience. It was the money side of it makes no sense up to a point, and then it's like, okay, now it makes sense.
And do we say at what point it made sense?
Yeah.
So the show was on Saturday. And at what point did we break even?
I think
Wednesday.
Was it Wednesday? I thought it was like midday the day before. But yeah, no, it was hard. But that's so common as well. That's why putting on shows, you are setting yourself up for stress because ticket sales spike right there. That is across the board famous.
You. Anybody that booked in that last 3 days. Anybody that booked at all. Yeah, we were panicking up till
we were
quite late in the game. But we weren't. That's the thing.
No,
it was just fine. We knew it would be obviously the more full it was, the nicer it was. But actually, with both of your acts, and this is where you so complement each other, which is why I'm so glad we did it with them.
Yeah,
is actually a seated venue.
Yeah,
the music you both play.
Yeah,
it's not get up and rave.
No,
so
and that was one thing. I don't know if we advertised that bit enough. I don't know what people prefer actually. Well, it's for different things, but yeah, that was something that was actually a real selling point to a lot of people.
Yeah,
and I really was quite proud to say, no, you're not just going to. Well, it's not a rave up like you've just said. It's not to come and get drunk and. Well, you could get drunk.
Absolutely. I mean,
absolutely.
The bar were very happy. So I think
people were getting drunk. But it was more. It was basically more of a reflection of what our music was going to give. Like, it wasn't a, come on, everyone dance with us. It was a, just watch this performance.
Yeah.
Because they are musicians. They were all musicians that were so worthy of just, I mean, the lads, Toby and Rob, is mad. Through all the rehearsals, we never really saw their set, just them. And so the first time we saw it,
the first 5 songs, as the two of them,
just a pair of them.
As someone who's trying to manage the stage,
yes,
I didn't have song titles. I didn't know how
did they
long.
not give you any info?
No, I didn't have how long these songs were going to be.
Oh my God!
I'm trying to prep you. I remember at one point going upstairs and being like, "Right, Dulcima, I think you're on next," not knowing. No, this song could be 1 minute or 4 minutes.
Who knows? Yeah,
just be ready. But they were fantastic.
They are fantastic, and that's the thing. They're worth the quiet seated watcher.
Yes,
because they are great together.
Oh, fantastic!
And
yeah.
We never saw that chemistry before. Yeah. Because of course we all rehearsed with big groups of people because that's when you need to rehearse. And that's really fun. I never knew they didn't tell you any info.
Or I just we're doing 5 songs.
Cool.
Okay.
Oh my goodness!
But they managed it out like it was.
They did.
It was fantastic. Right. So you've just touched on rehearsal.
Yeah.
Let's get a bit deeper into that.
Yeah.
So first of all, to say what we had on stage.
Yeah.
So yourself, Rob and Toby.
Yes.
We then had keys.
Yes. Nick.
Backing vocals.
3 wonderful girls. Annabelle.
Don't do this again.
Nicola and Annabelle.
Bass. Now it's my test.
Yeah, there we go. But do you know? Yeah, bass. John. Yeah. Sorry, John.
Drums
and Pete.
Yeah,
on drums.
And then we had cello.
And we had cello.
Actually, yeah. For the main core of the songs, there will be 2 surprises at the end.
Yeah.
So as part of your set, strongly the keys, obviously, very much so.
Tough, yeah.
But the backing vocals.
Yes.
So we had a couple of opportunities to rehearse with the girls. And we've put a little bit out on socials. We'll probably be able to put out a little bit more as well.
Yeah, we should do that actually.
Incredible.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing. Like, it's so funny with backing vocals. I don't know, and you can be really honest.
Okay.
When girls are practicing to sing together.
Yeah.
And we've got 3 girls, 4 including me. We all can sing. Like that you need to go in like knowing that. You knew that anyway. But when you have girls singing together, there's a certain amount of gelling, a bit of singing time you have to have before things gel and things sound really good together. So it can sound a bit hit or miss. And you're like, ooh. And I was like refusing to actually really listen to them. I just wanted this gelling to happen.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I'm not going to base any judgment on anything for the first hour. And then when it does all hit together and there's some big moments where we're all singing this thing and it gets really confident, that's the bit where it hits you in the stomach. You're like, oh my God, that's so exciting. Yeah. And I don't know, how did it feel for you?
So I think, going backwards, we did backing vocals for the Ashford show as well.
So you've heard.
So the first time hearing you sing with backing, yes, I think my gut was a bit like, wow, this has changed. Because all throughout 2023, we've done 2023, 2024, where are we? Probably 2024, more so.
Yeah.
We'd done festivals.
Yeah.
And we'd done shows, and it was you and a piano.
Yeah.
Incredible. And that was kind of where we'd almost positioned you as an artist.
Yeah.
And then we had a strong conversation, and it was, is this right? You on a festival stage behind a piano will only appease so much of the audience when the next act is going to be sort of up and dancing. And I think you'd always strongly said, I want a full band behind me. I want backing vocals behind me. And that was always where the progression was going to go. So as soon as we could have the vocalists for the Ashford show last year, that was sort of tick number one. For this show, we changed up the vocalists a little bit, just out of availability. Yeah. Every vocalist you've worked with has been incredible.
One day I want to get everyone in my room.
Everybody, yes,
that
absolutely.
Would be absolutely amazing.
There are certain songs that the girls join in on that just
floor
amazing.
Everyone.
Yeah.
They're
the bits that I think in my gut I go, right, we've got this right.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's I don't know what more I want to say so much about it, but that's the thing. And actually, in a way, when I'm singing, so let's say back to the revival show when we were performing some of these songs, I'm having to be a quarter of it. I'm having to sing my part. So I can't quite ever listen back. I mean, I should go and listen back to all the recordings, which I have done. But like, to witness it as a viewer must feel pretty special, because it does feel very special when you're performing it. But a lot of your energy is going into just keeping the performance going, and you know, the energy that goes into
you've got in-ears in, and like you can't at any point stop and turn around and be like, wow, your girls are great.
Yeah. But no, you're right. When there's certain, it's really funny putting together harmony parts, because that's the other thing. Part of this was I got which girls were going to sing, and then of course there were 3 of them, so I have to then write their melodies that they're going to sing, the harmonies they're going to sing. And so you kind of know which bits are going to be the big moments, because you've written them in. And often it's when you've spanned a large, you've got the really high notes and you've got as many notes as possible, basically. And there's a bit where they all actually join in on one note and then suddenly divide up. And that's going to be a moment where everyone's like, oh, that's great. Especially if the singers are really confident and do it as well as they did. And that's such a good song.
Yes, yeah. But so singing rehearsals or vocal rehearsals, incredible. We did a few different venues.
Yeah.
And I think it came together really quite quickly.
Yeah.
But I think actually, to say it, but to credit to you, it was how much you provided in advance for the girls to work through as well.
That is true.
So
you can.
Yeah. And the girls being able to just take it on.
They were amazing. I mean, I feel like I'm doing nothing but praise it.
They deserve it.
But and you're right. You can be. I felt like that with the other musicians as well. You can sort of dump loads of stuff in a Google Drive folder and just say, here's loads of work for you to do, is what you're saying. It's like, cool, go and learn all these words, learn all these parts, learn all the... And that was part of this, oh my goodness, we've got such an amazing team, because everyone separately, in their own time, in their own homes, in their own space, works all their parts out. And then when you all convene, and everyone kind of, 90% of it goes well, you're like, that actually felt like very little work, really.
Well, let's leave that on then, because the big rehearsal that we did was the full band.
Yeah.
Toby Robbie South.
Yeah.
In a beautiful house.
So nice.
That we sort of commandeered for the day. And it was the first time officially you had played with a drummer and a bassist.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I felt like a little kid.
It was incredible.
I just wanted to I was just sort of giggling my way through Fame and Glory. I think that was the first song we tried. And it was really such a lovely environment, wasn't it? Because if the other musicians weren't playing, they were sitting watching. So there was this really nice, I keep saying safe space, but it did feel like that because it was like everyone's just running through, it's fine. And yeah, I had this drummer that basically knew the songs better than me, my song. He was like, I think we have 4 bars there. And I was like,
brilliant.
You're right. But to be able to stand free again and not have to be sort of chained to the piano, having this brilliant pianist doing my parts, again, better than me. I'm sure he's playing better than me, far better. So everyone's executing the part so well. And I was free to just dance around.
Go for it, yeah.
I was sort of like, that was, almost mind-blowing. I have no idea why it was so affecting, but it was.
I think it was the progression of it. That was always the plan, and here it was in fruition.
That's it.
I did feel for them a little bit, so I sort of picked a spot sort of mid-assembly of everyone.
Yep.
And I think it probably was Fame and Glory, and I don't have the best face at the best of times when I'm not concentrating on it, trying to smile.
Talk about your resting
which I don't do a lot. But I think I must have been staring out these poor guys, but in like probably what looked like a really evil face as if they were getting it wrong. But I promise you, it was just pure love. Yeah. Just love. I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I'm so funny. I think
but your face was like,
3-4 minutes. And I'm like
glaring them down. And they're like,
am I getting this wrong? I'm sure I'm getting
really
this right. No. Honestly, I think I just was like, this is real.
That's the thing. It suddenly became real, and we had all the parts in place. Because to me as well, like, again, way back, you have the drummer and the bass player that we always had, and I was, to an extent, I was like, who would want to play with me? I was like, I'm not going to ever find a drummer who would literally go to the work to learn my songs, and I won't, and same with the bass player. And then there were these lads that were just a rock.
I suppose it is that, isn't it? Because the bassist and the drum player for Coco it was their band.
It was also different
as part of.
Yeah.
But this was literally asking almost strangers.
Yeah. And I'm
play with you.
It's effectively asking someone to help you out. And obviously that is different. We're paying them to be musicians and all that sort of thing. But like, I'm very bad at asking for help at the best of times, which is why I'm really bad at asking for help. I'll try and be as self-sufficient and, kind of eked into using backing tracks for this reason, just me and piano, because then I don't have to sort of get someone to help me out.
Yeah.
But and it's purely about, I don't want to inconvenience other people.
Yeah.
It's not because, I don't believe in that. I think so many musicians that can do the job so well, and yet I was like, oh no, I don't want to trouble anyone else. I'll just try and get it done on my own. But no, and then that's why I'm like, it was an indebted experience. I was just like, they don't know how grateful I was for them even turning up and playing those songs and taking the time to learn all the parts and all that. Oh, it was great.
And obviously we've spoken very much sort of Pete and John drum and bass, but the other massive factor, Nick on keys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nick was brilliant.
And it's something, was it weird for you to hand that over? Because that is your baby.
It was my baby, yeah. And I suppose there are some bits I just didn't think that I would innately put when I'm playing it. And he obviously wouldn't, because I hadn't scored out music for him. I just sort of sent him the parts and said, and he was like, oh, I'll learn it by ear, which is also an amazing thing when people are doing that. Cuts my job in half. So I'm like, okay, thank you. So there was maybe a bit of like, a few little extra details I might have put in because I knew about them and I'm used to doing that. But there was a lot of rock steady timing, things were correct and played properly, which I do not do. Like I'll rush through, and if I'm so bad.
You can follow your own tempo.
And then I follow, exactly. Yeah. So that was the other slightly nerve-wracking thing about playing with Nick and anyone else, is that, I have to be back in band mode and think, okay, well, I'm sort of, we have to work as a team now. You're not a solo, you are a solo act, but you're not, you have to play nicely with everyone and be accountable for everyone.
Yeah.
and they are doing the same for you. And yeah, no, Nick, it was so mad even getting hold of Nick.
Yeah.
Because did I tell you about how I found him?
Yeah, go on.
So Nick, basically, a very long time ago when I was first even doing demos of my stuff, 2 years ago, say, I was on GarageBand and I was making notes of sounds that weren't too crap. So really, really boring. Anyway, I had this random, outdated list of random GarageBand stuff. Very separately to that, I saw Nick Shake had put something on Instagram 2 years ago, and it was a fleeting thought. I was like, oh, okay, if I ever do need a pianist, and it was miles in the future by this point, I was like, if, I'll write down his Instagram account. And then that document sat on Google Drive, completely buried under masses and masses of things. Never looked at it again until January.
Yeah.
And really randomly, I was like, kind of clearing through, I think, and I was like, oh, keys, we need a keys player. And we're so anyway, it was just so random. I'd even written his name down. Random, I found his name again. And amazing, he said yes straight away and was so keen. So it was just very fleeting. Yeah,
Putting the pieces together.
It was a crazy journey. Just yeah. Anyway,
and he had got in touch with you originally because he knew you from band.
Well, I got in touch with him first. Yeah. And he did know the band. Yes. Yeah. So there was a link there. And he was a big fan of Coco, and he had been to those other festivals. And that was why I didn't want to ruin any image he had of Coco. Yeah. But then I've since messaged him and said, don't take it as if it's, I don't want to ruin your view. And he said, no, I completely understand it. It makes sense. Bands do that. Yeah. Bands will have a lot of this. So.
And you had a lot of that.
A lot.
Okay, so rehearsal went fantastically.
Yes.
And I think everybody walked away from that feeling really pleased. It felt like we had it. Oh gosh, no it didn't. Okay.
No, we did. It was just, I will never forget can we talk about Stairway to Heaven?
Are you ready to do that?
Well, no, only because you say it did go so well, but I just remember the rehearsal for that was we were all the least prepared to rehearse that.
Yes.
So of course we knew we were going to go in and cobble it together and try and make our way through it. And the lads all were so good because there's a whole load of musical stuff that is very difficult in that song, which I just got to float away without worrying about because I just had to sing. But I just remember us finishing first run through, looking over at you, and you're like, really? And I can see why you said that, because you weren't prejudging it. You meant like that it's not a typical ender.
Okay.
Show. Sorry, I've
slightly in my defense. No,
I know.
I love this. And you know where I'm going to go with this. So there was, I thought there were more discussions than perhaps there were on what we were ending on. We definitely wanted everybody on stage. Yeah. We definitely wanted a full roundup of everything musically being displayed as best it could. I also wanted something that would tell a bit of a story. Yeah. So because, and this sort of goes back to the whole playing on the fact that you have previous fans and the band life and the fact that you're on stage with Rob, my gut was going with a Fleetwood Mac song, wrongly or rightly.
Same.
We did sort of agree with that. And looking back now, I am really glad we didn't do it. But then all of a sudden, and it was literally rehearsal day, and you did Stairway to Heaven, and it got mentioned, and it was mentioned before then. I'd seen it in like group chats and everything like that. I knew it was coming. Yeah. But I didn't realise that Fleetwood Mac had been dropped.
No,
Or hadn't even made the full conversation.
So Fleetwood Mac song, You Can Go Your Own Way. Go Your Own Way. Yeah. I pitched that first and thought that will be an excellent finisher for so many reasons. That's just a pretty one. I'm going to say, Toby immediately shot that idea down. It hadn't even left the ground and he shot it. Because he was just like, no, everyone does that. As all the cover acts do that. He didn't say it in a horrible way, but he was loads of people do this. It's really overdone.
We can do better. And he was so right. Yeah.
And fair play, he had a good point. And there was never, that was the other thing, in all of this show, there were never any actually big there were no bust-ups, no disagreements.
No, not at all.
There might have been a bit of like, I think this, but it was never, it was normal. Anyway, he shot down my fantastic idea of doing Go Your Own Way. I could understand both sides. So I was like, okay, cool. Well, what else then? Like, let's bounce my ideas around. The only other name that got mentioned was from Rob. And he had good reasons. He was like, oh, it's like the one No One Ever Dares cover. We know why now. No, but he had like, from a muso point of view, it's a very respectable one to attempt and pull off, which I believe we pulled off. But
I agree.
Anyway, I just wanted to get the decision made so I could send parts to people. I was thinking more like, okay, I actually don't mind what it is now. I just want confirmation of anything. You could give me a Britney Spears song at this stage, and I'll be like, yeah, cool, okay,
Let's just get it done.
let's just do it. And so that's why. And then later, with no time to spare at all, Toby reneged on his comment and said, oh, actually, Fleetwood Mac would have been quite good. I was like, Toby, why are you saying that now? With like a week to go. And then, of course, we're practicing Stairway to Heaven on the day, and that's where I was like, well, I'm not sure we'll have time.
Yes,
and it just never got mentioned.
Yes.
And I think we would have really freaked out the other musicians were like, well, also, we've got another one you have to learn on the spot.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm going to go back to timing. The whole thing.
Yeah.
But just to touch on where I thought you were going with that story. Was obviously when it first started, and as I say, I did see it coming, but yes, my face probably did do oh wow, this is real. And it just never ended. And obviously at this point there's like 12 or 13 or 14 of us in the room. And because everybody was on stage, although we were in this sitting room, everybody was up and doing something. There's me sat on the sofa with my laptop like, guys, you finished yet? Someone come talk to me, hello. But no, you're still going. And then
have you started it again without me knowing?
Yeah. But like the song is incredible, and it did mean everyone got their time to shine. I'm not going to say the best part of your time to shine in that song, because obviously you do a lot of amazing notes. But I think we rehearsed that song at least 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
In full.
Yeah.
Probably 6 or 7 times the ending.
Yeah.
And why?
Oh, I actually can't.
Because you could never remember to sing the last lines.
Oh my God!
You were off in a dream world, like, yeah, well, don't go.
The whole thing was over.
Everybody is looking at you. Toby and Rob are like,
and she's buying the stairway. Go on, let us off the hook. I completely forgot, and even now I forgot that was
to the point where we ended rehearsals and went, if she doesn't do it, she doesn't do it. We're just going to have to roll with it. And it will just
on the show, did I?
Yes, you did.
Okay, good.
I do think there was a moment where we sort of were like, oh no, right, she's got it.
Good.
Okay, great.
I will Toby around that time. He was like,
come on,
you know what I'm going to say. You know what I'm going to say.
Fantastic. Okay, so rehearsal's done.
Rehearsals are done.
We need to talk show day.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
So,
go.
No?
I've never been so
actually, I want to go back to just to timing.
Yeah.
So, in the run-up to this, I think the biggest thing I didn't take into account, very, very stupidly, considering that was the whole point of it, why on earth were we stupid enough to try and release a solo song and do a show at the same time? Because we had to, because the whole point of the show was to celebrate the release of the solo song.
Yeah.
But we really did take on 2 big projects day after day.
Yeah. I mean, the guys did it on the same day. So, and it was an EP. So, I mean, for what it's worth. But I don't know how you get around that.
Oh, no, I don't think you do.
Because you have to have a show. There's always like got to be a reason to have a show sort of thing.
I think I blocked it from... I think because what we said before, we've actually tried to release music quite a few times over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
And we plan ahead. We come up with a whole campaign.
Yeah.
And there's quite a lot that goes into it. And we'd sort of forged this path of this is what we need to do to release the song, to get to that date to release the song.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden there's project 2. Right, this is everything we need to do to be able to do the show.
Yeah.
And I can do that side and I can do the show side. And then all of a sudden you put them together and you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You've just doubled your workload and get to like the end goal, which was absolutely fine. But it was very much like, right, which one are we concentrating on today? Because actually the deadline is the same, essentially.
Yeah.
And then what I didn't realise until we got much, much closer is the boys are doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, maybe if we drop the ball a little bit on the show because we're concentrating on the song, the boys might pick it up a little bit. And it's not to say they didn't. Everybody worked absolutely fantastically. But it wasn't in my mindset that, no, they're probably quite busy trying to release their own music.
They've also got that. Yeah.
Like we are, and plan a show. Why are we trying to do all this at the same time? Because we have to.
There's no way. And I remember thinking, especially the week leading up to the revival show, I was like, if I'm a viewer of Dulcima's stuff, like I don't want to a follower. Her big message that's going on is about the show. I didn't want to confuse messages.
Yes.
That was basically it. Yeah. I was like, okay, well, I've told them all about this, and that's clearly Dulcima's shouting about this show she's going to do. Okay, cool. And then if you dip in and say, oh, by the way, there's a song coming, and then if you go back to the show, you've lost. I was like, well, I'm losing all this momentum with the show announcements, but I kind of, like you say, you have to.
And I think this is where,
and then you have to,
where we planned so much in advance, and we have this sort of calendar of dates and what we're going to do, releasing and the campaign. And if it all goes to plan, it all works really well. Yeah. Because I think very, very naively in our mindset, we were going to talk about the show from November through to January, mid-Jan. Yeah. We'd have sold out. It'll be absolutely fine. Yeah. And then the 6 weeks we can do the campaign for the music.
And you're just pumping overboard. Yeah.
That wasn't the case. No. So they really did run in together.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, hey, it was a lot of content.
It was great. And actually, it is that thing of like, what is the message I'm trying to send right now? And maybe from the start, we should have had, and you don't want to make that message too convoluted. Because then your Instagram follower, whoever, will lose interest because you give them too much to think about. But no, so maybe we'll see what happens.
But you also don't want them to get bored.
And that,
same thing. For the people that bought tickets early, unbelievably thankful. Thank you very much. Yeah, but also probably must have been quite bored of.
Yeah, like no, come to
show. We've got it. We've got the message.
We know.
But it was a lot. And I'm saying that purely because, and I don't know whether this will be knowledge, this isn't our full-time job.
No, that's a really good point.
This is
good point to make.
Very much just a hobby.
It's a crazy hobby
that we love doing.
Yeah,
like absolutely. And if we could and can make it a full-time job,
this is where I am unbelievably grateful to you, because yes, it's me and my name and my face. There's an element of like vanity reward I can get from that. You are just loving it's the royal we, and I love being able to say we as well. Yeah, like I do that anyway for brand stuff. I'll say we. There's no other person.
No, that you're doing on your own. I'm not signing up to that.
No. But with music, it's lovely to be able to say it, and I actually can say I've got someone on board, and I remember thinking that when we got involved with publisher. We'll talk about that separately. But being able to sort of say, no, I'm not just a little girl who doesn't know what she's doing. Yeah. I've got this wealth of experience, and not only that, I have someone who's literally on my team, and I love it. And I love that you found the revival show. I feel like that gave you back some stuff that the reward you want. Yeah, from it, because like you say, it's his hobby. There's not a lot of money passing hands here, so
no, absolutely.
Yeah. And music, we've determined, kind of has to be that at this level. Yeah. There's and we have bandied around different ideas, trying to make it a bit more of a financial thing, but it's just so difficult.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
we will deep dive into that.
That's another whole
show day. So Maidstone venue.
Yep,
loved it.
Yep.
So the boys, I think, had been there before.
Yes.
We did take a little recce one evening.
Yeah.
Just have a look, and I think it's quite new as a venue, as I understand it.
It looks new and it feels
new. I'm sure it is. I'm sure the guy that has only had it, maybe fairly recently. Yeah. And it's sort of a growing venue for music. They do a lot of classes and things like that as well. So stuff, really, really nice setup.
Yeah.
And in we rolled, and we had, for the people that know him, Jamie Smith on sound.
Yes, we did.
Oh my gosh, that made my job so much easier.
Well, I mean, he had been slightly dropped in it, I think,
and some,
and a bit more. I thought he had got a list because I thought we were quite good at preparing the exact I know. Obviously, we dropped one backing singer, but for a while we knew we had three, and then obviously cello seemed to come out of nowhere. But I thought I had said cello. But anyway, no, he did a very, very good job.
He was incredible. But he sort of took over.
Yeah.
There was a guy from the venue doing the lights, and we actually sort of made a plan. He, bless him, he'd sort of said, the desk takes X amount of time to set up.
Yeah.
I need to get in as early as possible.
Yeah.
Okay, you can get in from midday. So we've already screwed him over from sort of the dot. And we kind of had a pencil plan. And in music, it'll never go to plan.
No. If it goes to plan, it's gone
fine.
wrong.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But actually, the afternoon ran smoothly. And I think that's a credit to, definitely mainly Jamie.
Yeah.
But also everybody.
Yeah.
Because there was no, aren't we supposed to be rehearsing? Aren't we supposed to be sound checking? I haven't sound checked this.
Yeah.
No, we just sat back, for want of not sounding lazy, and just when it's ready,
you just
ready.
have to be on call.
And it's,
That's what, and that was a very nostalgic feeling, because that's what obviously so many hours of the band was. But you're right, it's everyone taking it in their stride, because I'm sure part of being a live musician is, yes, have the skill, yes, have the confidence to be on stage. Mostly, though, it's remaining calm when things are not perfect.
Yeah.
Especially with your sound, with your ears, with your setup, whatever that might be. And we had three girls that were, well, one especially quite inexperienced, and then everyone else was very, very professional. And you knew, monitor, checking on monitors didn't go on forever, and it could have done.
Nothing did.
And back in the day when we were all learning how to even be musicians, performing artists, that bit could have been hours.
Yeah.
Just because everyone's, can I have a bit more of this? Can I have a bit more of this? And anyway, because of everyone putting together and just realizing it's not going to be perfect.
Yep.
And that's what's going to make it perfect. Like the fact you just have to roll with it a lot. The cellist had never played half the songs.
Bless her. Yeah. The longest person on any sort of sound or line check was Rob.
Oh, yes.
Bless him.
Yes.
That pedal steel did
of course
not want to play ball.
No. And
I really felt for him. But
and I think a few of the different things he always, and it's great because the sound is so cool in the end, but he always technically brings a lot of ingredients that often
that only he understands.
Fuck up.
But no, we could work around him, sound check other people around him until he was ready. And that's not to say it didn't delay anything or anything like that at all.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those, from someone who doesn't play anything musically at all. Just plug it in and make it go.
Yeah.
Come on. Why? How is it not working?
Why is it not working?
But it was a good afternoon, and it just felt like everyone pulled together. Like the boys that built the stage.
Yeah.
There was an awful lot of work went into it very, very quickly.
Yeah. And that's the bit with the fact that we went into it as a group, a duo thing with them and us. Because I remember arriving thinking, oh my goodness, like I'm not sure I've really pulled my weight, because I saw so much I had nothing to do with.
Yeah.
And Rob and Toby must have therefore, they got it sorted, got it dealt with.
Yeah.
And it really came to light where I was like, whoa. And I felt almost guilty the morning, no, not guilty, but the morning of the show, I woke up relaxed. I knew there was a little bit of a to-do list, obviously there always is with me, but comparably, I was very, very relaxed. And I remember I texted you about.
Well, I think we voice noted.
We voice noted, of course.
And we both sort of said, right, we're getting there for 12. What are we doing?
Yeah, like what we don't need to be there. But there was a moral support thing.
Absolutely. And if there was anything I could put my hand to, I'm happy to do it.
Same.
But I literally walked in slightly late. Oh, do I tell the story? I'm going to tell the story.
Yes.
So I come from near Canterbury. I think I know roads quite well.
Yeah.
Cannot read a sat nav to save my life. Get to the Maidstone roundabout that I do know incredibly well. Misread the sat nav and go back to Dover.
Just love the idea. Nope, going home.
Yeah, literally.
Off she goes.
So I was slightly late, only by about 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like being late, unsurprisingly.
Yeah.
But I hate sat navs even more. But I sort of rocked up, went upstairs, the dressing room's upstairs, did a little faffing about with the rider and making sure everyone had treats and drinks and lovely. And I'm not doing anything useful. And the boys are on stage unpacking bits. And I think it got to an hour in and me and you were like, should we build the keyboard? I feel like we could contribute something. Right?
Yeah, like look a bit busy. But it worked. Like it's funny because that's the other thing of we really couldn't do anything. They're the experts that know how to do that stuff. We would have been in the way trying to help.
Yeah.
Any more than we did. It's just, our time to shine was later.
Yeah. And I think that's where I'm so glad we did it with them.
Yes.
Because if we'd have rocked up as us two, I mean, we've done it before. As I say, we will sort of go backwards as well.
Yeah.
But we've tried to put up our own PA for a different event. And I mean,
we're not good.
It's safe to say we get along very well, but it gets very tense when something doesn't work. We do get very tense.
We each get,